skip the countdown?
Welcome everybody to another great episode of Back in Toons, proudly brought to you by Retro Rocket Entertainment. Find us on Facebook, retrorocketentertainment.weebly.com as well. I'm Michael, your host, and my co-host, as always,
Jacob, the illustrious Jacob.
I shouldn't say as
Just
always.
illustrious.
There was a few months there where we didn't do any episodes. I had to get like special guests. But as usual, very glad to have you back.
I know, it's great to be back. It's just, I miss it so... It just feels so wonderful.
Alright,
Oh,
so
sure.
this episode I chose. Usually I let Jacob program, but I think for a little bit I'm going to choose. And this one actually, I think we're going to do for a while. We're going to talk about the Incredible Hulk, because there's more than one animated series. We can talk about the comics, we can talk about the movies. And it's going to be backed up by a double feature with Savage Dragon. A long-lasting comic book, short-lived animated series. Doesn't mean it's not very good. It was actually pretty awesome. Jacob, you saw it for the first time, correct?
Oh, God, yes. I loved it.
All right,
well,
so...
I mean, I would...
Go ahead.
Well, I would watch it, like, on, USA after, Iron Man was on. Sometimes it would appear after Fantastic Four. I'd still watch it, and I'm like, okay, well, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's a giant cop with a friggin' fin on his head. But then, like, watching it now, I'm like, what? Well, dang, dude, it reminds me of Dick Tracy and Hulk mixed.
It also had kind of like a tough cop. I mean, just it kind of had like you know how the way cop movies were, like the renegade cop of the late '80s, early '90s, like a little bit of like Lethal Weapon or John McClane. It had a little bit of that thrown in too. But before we discuss too much of Savage Dragon, we're first going to discuss Incredible Hulk. So what we do is we kind of watch an episode. We discuss it as it's playing along. Sometimes we don't make it through the whole episode. Sometimes we make it through the whole thing. And I imagine we're going to make it through the whole Incredible Hulk episode because we have plenty to talk about. You'll find it up on YouTube. The episode is called Return of the Beast. It's the first episode of the 96-97 series. So we're going to go ahead and hit play now.
All right. Oh, everything starts out so peaceful. Oh, birds flying, clouds parting, beautiful blue skies. Oh, this must be some part of Hulk's mind that tries to keep himself calm.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah, here we are. Oh, we're guessing this is Betty, and that, of course, is Bruce Banner. I mean, who else, wears glasses like that and dates a girl like that? Oh, Daddy's got to always intervene.
So the 96-97 series is probably the one that you're more familiar with than the one that I was raised on, the 82-83 series, right? Is this one that you regularly watched?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really watch this one that much. I probably saw about a handful of episodes. This is when there was I think there's 3 animated series from Marvel coming out at this time. I think X-Men had ended. I think Spider-Man was just wrapping it up. And then the Hulk, Fantastic Four, and Iron Man all premiered really close together. The other 2 were on CBS, but the Hulk was on Fox, which is where the X-Men found their home. And I really don't remember much about this series, because I think I watched a lot of Iron Man, but I don't remember watching this one very much.
Oh, man, honestly. Oh, they also had Ghost Rider.
There was a Ghost Rider cartoon? Really?
Yeah, there was. And I think Hulk would have a guest appearance on Fantastic Four and this one.
That's crazy. I didn't know they ever made a Ghost Rider cartoon. I have to look that up.
Yeah, I know. I only remember seeing a few episodes of it, but, I wasn't into him as much as I was then, as I am now.
Right.
Yeah, but I will say about Hulk, I think it really does capture, the the depth of Bruce Banner and his constant struggle with the Hulk. It did kind of feel like watching the movies.
I would say so for me. Uh, I started reading based. Well, I hold on. The thing that got me reading in the first place was the fact that my mom got me a subscription to Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk, and it was because I had seen the original series. It was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and then this series, and it really got me interested. She goes, it comes from a comic book. I'm like, what's a comic book? And so she got me a year subscription to both. I don't recall whether or not I kept going with the Incredible Hulk because it was more sophisticated than my 5-year-old brain could probably handle. I did sign up for Spider-Man. I think I read Spider-Man from about issue 211. It's where Sandman and Hydra Man form into one giant beast. That might actually be 218, but whatever. I read that until about, I would say, 375. That's the longest commitment I've had to anything in my entire life.
Wow. Dang, man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, most comic books
Yeah,
I felt like I read for a long time. It turns out it was only like 2 years at best. I'm like, oh, all right.
oh, also Marvel also did a Silver Surfer cartoon as well.
Well, I don't remember any of these. I remember the Silver Surfer game for Nintendo that sucked horribly. When were these? Were these all at the same time?
Yeah, this is all around like the same time. Yeah.
Wow, I don't remember any of that.
I remember Silver Surfer. I remember being on Fox, and it might still be on Netflix. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, totally. What's funny is I look at a lot of the Marvel characters. They all had like, it seemed like every bad guy had some sort of J. Jonah Jameson look. They all had the mustache and the flat top, and there's a lot of weird mustaches going on. Period throughout the whole Marvel universe for a long time.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, they all do. I mean, in here you have he has that look. A Savage Dragon, that editor that tries to demean, of course, the titled character. He has that same look, but different color.
It's just odd. I just noticed there's so many rampant mustaches. All right, so the first series from 82-83, it only lasted for 13 episodes, and it was part of the Spider-Man and Amazing Friends Hours, which, if I remember correctly, the first season of Spider-Man did not have the Amazing Friends. I think it was just him solo, and then it was the next season where they added Iceman and Firestar, and that's the one that I think most people know is that version.
Yeah. No, I mean, plus, Iceman himself came from X-Men, so...
Right, and Firestar was solely created for the series. I always wondered, and I should probably look this up, and I want to do that cartoon sometime, how it is they decided to go with Firestar, a brand new creation, when there were so many Marvel characters they could have chose, like Dazzler, Marvel Girl, or someone, and then they didn't go that path.
Maybe the whole Fire and Ice,
maybe,
kind of
maybe
thing.
that's just, maybe it's too obvious. Maybe I just didn't see that right in front of my eyes.
Who knows? Maybe you had a valid point in asking that question. But I will say, as far as Firestar goes, she ended up joining the New Warriors.
Yeah, I remember that, and then she became an Avenger for a while. But man, the New Warriors, that was a great series. Mark Bagley did a fantastic job designing those characters.
I know, and it really appealed to urban city kid fans.
Oh yeah, because they had Night Thrasher, which is an unfortunate name because Night Thrasher sounds like you're knocking your nuts around.
Yeah, ow, it sounds painful just to even think about it. Yeah. Oh, they also, I think one of the ones I remember most was Speedball.
Oh, definitely.
And he was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, but he ended up becoming Penance after that.
Yeah, that was a big change to that character, though. And the New Warriors were they keep trying to relaunch it, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Some Marvel characters stick around forever and a day. Like, the Hulk will never disappear, but some characters, they're just of the moment, and it's kind of a shame. Why do you think it is that the Hulk has lasted so long?
Oh, gosh, I don't know, mainly because it's a Stan Lee creation, and it is kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde concept.
Yeah, and I think kids, I mean, it sounds like it's boiling down to, the most basics, but I think kids just love the idea of releasing that aggression and just smashing stuff.
Yeah, you gotta vent, you can't keep it locked in. But at the same time, right here, as you can tell, Hulk's been, like as far as the plot goes, Bruce Banner and Hulk have been in hiding for so long, everything's going alright. And of course, General Ross comes and finds him and just fucks shit up again. Like, God, blame the military, don't blame the Hulk. Don't fuck with him. You know not to fuck with him.
What's funny is there's actually 3, well, actually, I think isn't there another one, a new animated series for the Hulk? recently, or is it's coming out?
Yeah, I think it was on Disney XD.
Okay, well, I haven't watched that one at all. But there was a '60s series where it was like really cheap, just the lips move, and there's very limited,
Oh,
very limited
just
animation.
just like the old Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, and
Oh yeah, I remember that. And Captain America.
right, so they did that one first, and they have the whole origin story, and then in the '80s, the series that I started with, it's very similar in tone, and it does their origin. Now, here's the thing with this series is they don't waste any time building the origin; they just jump right into it, which is a great idea, especially if you were a fan of the previous series. They kind of line up with each other instead of restarting again and again.
Right. Kind of like, just like what they did with the first Batman movie.
Right, he already exists. You don't have to sit there and waste time with the origin. Though that's not to say that Batman Begins isn't totally amazing.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, it is totally amazing. Because mainly because of Christopher Nolan. What he did with Batman, he turned it into kind of like gave it a realistic James Bond kind of feel. Which,
Right.
of course, being the billionaire playboy that he was and having all the money and constantly upgrading and escalating his weaponry so he can be prepared to take down any enemy that comes along. Like always trying to stay a step ahead.
Yeah, the one
Then
thing,
I'll
right. But back to the Hulk, though. We can talk about. We should do a Batman episode too. I think this whole month maybe we should just knock out some superhero cartoons.
oh hands down.
Um,
Plus, I love how this captures the action of the Hulk. I mean,
right, it's amazing. The purple pants, though, man. I don't. Do all his pants turn out purple from some sort of radiation leak, or does he really buy a lot of purple pants in the beginning? Like,
I think his pants look more burgundy.
well, I'm more used to purple. I don't know.
This
It's hard to
episode.
tell on this computer screen, but it certainly looks purple. Um,
Yeah.
but I
At
always
first,
wondered why it is that he always seems to have the same pants. I was like, did you buy surplus at Costco?
probably, or maybe the color is the only one he can have. The only one he had available, and he has to keep dyeing him that color because he can't exactly go out. And
No, it
buy
would be
it
interesting
at a
though
store.
if somehow the radiation are you hiccuping?
Yeah, that was a slight hiccup. Don't
Are
worry
you
about
okay?
it. Yeah.
So it'd be funny if the green, somehow the radiation when he turns into the Hawk or whatever somehow also morphed the color of his pants. That's a stupid theory, but it made me think that.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Oh, here's a little color blooper. His hair's blonde now. Anyway,
Yeah,
also.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're a few seconds ahead of me.
Oh, okay. Here, let me pause. And okay,
There we go.
Should be
Yeah,
on-
it's
should
only
be
like a
on-
2 second delay.
Yeah.
The one thing about the Hulk movies, well, actually, first we should probably say the series. The show was only on for 4 years, but it had such enduring fan base that it would come back for actually 3 movies. So the series, I think the reason the series works so much is because it's not too focused on the Hulk itself. Like he would just show up for a few minutes here and there. The fact that they made
Yeah.
David Banner so strong, it's so ridiculous that they didn't go by Bruce Banner. You know they changed the name for the show, right?
Yeah, David Bruce Banner.
Do you know why they removed Bruce from his name?
Do tell.
They thought that Bruce sounded too gay. Is that you smacking your forehead?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous. Bruce Wayne. They didn't chase that. I mean, there's tons of Bruce Campbell. Now, of course, Bruce Campbell was nobody at the time, but I'm just like, really? Bruce is more gay than David? I mean, neither one of them is a gay name. It's also just a stupid concept. A stupid idea to even think that a name, oh, that sounds gay. Well, was his name Cockenmouth Banner? No.
Or or Terrence Banner or something like that. No.
I know. It's
Jesus.
like, yeah, it was just a ridiculous idea. So first off, they changed his name, but the thing that they did was Kenneth Johnson was a great producer. He would go on to create V. But the first thing he did was, he did a fantastic job with Incredible Hulk. He also did a really good job bringing Alien Nation to television.
Oh, Alien Nation. Isn't that the one with wasn't that a movie with James Caan?
Yeah, but then it became a series on Fox, and they hired Kenneth Johnson to take over, and he just did a fantastic job on that one too.
Okay, honestly, this scene right here, it's like how does one fly, just one, manage to fly around?
Yeah.
You don't see any other fly in there. It's like, come on, Ross, be a little bit more suspicious. Oh,
Um,
and now we have the introduction of this villain, the leader.
yeah, you know what's funny is we were just talking about this before the episode started. So we should probably get into the movies. Um, we'll skip the TV movies. We'll talk about it later. The two
Right.
theatrical films. The first one, there are some fans of. I am not one of them. I don't get the movie. I think it's ridiculous the way they played out, and those poodles, man, the stupid poodles.
Oh no, there was a poodle, a pit bull, and a Rottweiler.
Whatever. The whole thing seemed like a silly concept. I just don't care for the first one. It's too mopey. The second one, man, it's not as strong with like subtext and characterization. But Edward Norton does a fantastic job, and the director, I don't know how to say his name, Louis Leterrier or something like that.
Yes, him.
He knew exactly what the movie needed from a fan point, and he got you the villains. And even though the leader isn't a major villain, he kind of just is the beginning of him. You can see the setup for the sequel with that villain.
Oh yeah, no, that's what we thought was going to happen until they just haven't done a solo Hulk movie since then.
I don't think they are. I think they're pretty much done. They're going to continue keeping him in the Avengers, which is he almost works better bouncing off of other characters in the Marvel universe instead of being by himself.
I think they are. I think they might have mentioned like with their what Marvel has with their phase 3 of movies. I think it might. I think Hulk might get a standalone movie soon.
I don't know. They're gonna have to come up with a serious villain because I didn't think Nick Nolte was that great of a villain, even though they made it personal.
Yeah,
The Abomination.
he was Absorbing Man.
The what?
He was Absorbing Man. That's who Nick Nolte was.
Basically, he is the Absorbing Man. They don't say it, and he doesn't play the same character, but yeah, he's basically Absorbing Man. And the villain in the second one, is the Abomination.
Yeah, which I thought was perfect. It's like Hulk needs this kind of villain. You want to see these two guys just go at it.
Now the third one, I imagine, is going to be the leader, but he's more of a thinker. He's a guy that kind of manipulates situations. I just don't know who would be a great villain for the third movie, like a physical villain. Maybe Wendigo.
Oh yeah, who knows? He probably creates Wendigo. Oh look, here's the introduction. Yeah, that's how Hulk started out. He started out gray.
There was a period in the comic books where he was gray again. The series itself has been kind of frustrating because while the writing was fantastic, when you're thinking of like a marketing standpoint, you're like, what color is he this week? Oh my god, really? We have to redo the whole thing?
Yeah, either Gray Hulk, Red Hulk, that stuff.
Yeah. Right when I was reading it, it's when Peter David took over. He started changing up the character. He had been gray, which I think was the worst period for the whole series. I thought he was boring. He was like a lot weaker and he was shorter, and he was playing a character called Mr. Fix-It in Vegas. Like he was just a brawler in Vegas, which was the worst.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was terrible. And then all of a sudden Peter David came on and he goes, "Whoa, we got to take this back to its roots." But he rebooted the whole idea of what the Hulk could be. He found a way to make Banner like the intelligence of Banner and put him in the physicality of the Hulk. Now, this Hulk didn't have the ability to get, like, super, super angry. You know how Hulk, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets?
Yeah.
This was the kind of thing where he was still tough as nails, but he didn't, like, have that out-of-control rage thing. He was more of a thinking man. And that ran for a while, and that was my favorite run. It was really, really good.
I know, just made the Hulk seem less stupid.
Yeah, he was basically Banner just trapped in the body of Hulk. And he could never change back to human form though. And damn, he was handsome. There was an artist, Dale Keown. You should check him out sometime. He did an amazing job, and he's kind of been forgotten. I don't know why, because he's absolutely top notch.
Damn.
And that was my riff on the comics. Hee.
I think I do remember a series where Hulk was, it was pretty much just Bruce Banner in complete control and turned into the Hulk.
Yeah, and I think it stayed that way for a while until I think Bruce Jones came on, and then he reverted it, and he did a fantastic job. He reverted him back to the Beast, and he turned it into more like an espionage horror title, and it was really good.
Oh wow! Yeah, man, that was pretty good. Espionage, of course. That's what like Incredible Hulk kind of seemed, especially when he was Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
and then at the end of the movie.
I forgot you were saying that they were talking about doing a solo movie, and I forgot there's rumors that there was a series where Hulk was cast off of Earth because he was too much of a problem. So they send him to another galaxy on this planet that was like kind of like John Carter, Man of Mars, that kind of world. And
Yeah.
Hulk had become their leader, or whatever. And it was kind of like sword and sorcery, but Hulk was in that kind of universe. And eventually they traveled
Planet
back to,
Hulk.
huh?
Planet Hulk.
Yeah, it
Isn't
started
that
off.
what it was?
It started off as World War Hulk when they cast him out, and then it became Planet Hulk, and then he came back to Earth for revenge. I don't know. I thought it was a really cool concept, and I've heard that they're try to bring that to the big screen.
Oh, that would be fucking cool.
I mean, like seeing like a Conan sword and sorcery kind of thing, but with Hulk wielding a huge axe or just a giant hammer, taking out the enemy.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty sweet. Yeah, he'd actually be one on one. He'd actually go toe to toe with Thor.
I was actually thinking more of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they would bring their worlds together, and maybe
Oh yeah, no,
possibly
that.
finally bring Nova. I mean, the Nova that we know, not Nova Corps. Nova and maybe Silver Surfer again.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the thing is, I think Fox might still have something over Silver Surfer because they're still doing the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Well, have you heard of the
That's another
Inhumans?
one we should do. Oh yes, I've heard of the Inhumans. Black Bolt being their leader, and if he speaks, like he'll level like an entire city.
Right, and I was thinking, that's it. It'd be kind of cool if Marvel had its own like line of intergalactic movies, and the Hulk could help with that. Because they already have Guardians of the Galaxy. It'd be kind of cool if they expanded upon that world, because only so many tales can take place on Earth.
Oh yeah, no, they are. That's exactly what they're doing with Guardians of the Galaxy. It really expands the Marvel universe, and I'm pretty sure they are going to introduce Nova. And Thanos himself is the bridge between Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy because we see Thanos at the end of Avengers, at the
Right,
right,
right.
during the end credits.
Well, by the way, did I tell you I finally saw Guardians of the Galaxy? That makes me sound like a schmuck because I'm a comic book fan. But I live in a town where there's only an independent theater, so you can't see anything until it comes out on video.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. And what do you think? Oh, I think I remember you saying, Rocket Raccoon sounded like Jason Alexander than Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, okay, we did have this conversation. Okay.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, now hearing it, I'm like, I could not tell that was Bradley Cooper for
Yeah,
the longest time.
he did a great job.
But yeah, no. But yeah, as far as Inhumans goes, I think Vin Diesel he kind of slipped. He gave little hints at teases. It's like I just something about being inhuman. So who knows? He might be playing Black Bolt.
Yeah, it could be anything. There's a lot of characters in that universe he could do that could be inhuman. It's kind of rare that someone can keep that a complete secret because we're eventually going to find out if he got cast. It doesn't
Yeah.
work the way it used to. When I was a kid, you didn't find out anything about a movie usually until it came out, and it's because at best you maybe heard about it a couple months before in some magazine. And that was it. But now, even from day one, before even anybody's even cast, they're already talking about, oh, well, this person's probably in negotiations. It's weird.
Yeah, or just like how Tyrese Gibson's in talks with being Green Lantern for Justice League.
Yeah, when did that start? When did people start like purposely trying to get themselves cast by going to social media? Was it, when Thomas Jane tried to be Jonah Hex?
Oh, yeah. Oh no, I don't remember that. But dang, man, he would have been a great Jonah Hex.
He would have, and the directors said no, and then the directors got fired when they hired Josh Brolin instead, which is hilarious. The movie still sucked either way.
Yeah. Oh, I do like how they kept Lou Ferrigno as the voice of the Hulk in the cartoon.
Yeah, well, I mean, he still does the voice in the movies too.
Oh yeah, no, I noticed that in Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton.
What's funny is
And honestly,
we didn't really talk about the cast, but the cast is amazing. I mean, the fact that it has Neil McDonough, it has Luke Perry, Matt Frewer.
oh yes, Matt Stewart as the voice of Leader.
Yeah, I love Matt Frewer. He did some amazing stuff, and not a lot of people talk about him anymore. But there was a moment where he was like kind of a rising star, but it's kind of a bummer that he didn't get much. But he's a consistently working actor, so that's good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw him. He played Moloch in Watchmen, and he was also in Dawn of the Dead with Zack Snyder as well.
Right.
Who knows? He might get a bit part in Batman versus Superman or Justice League.
Never know. Especially if they're shot in Canada. I think that's where he sticks primarily, is around Vancouver, Toronto area. All right, so that's the end of that episode, and I think, is there anything else? Because we could talk about Hulk for a while, but do you think we kind of covered everything?
I do want to say this: Mark Ruffalo, I think, is the perfect Bruce Banner
He is,
now.
it's like you read my mind. I was going to ask you who you thought the best was. I mean, Edward Norton did a fantastic job, but Mark Ruffalo just got it down.
I know. I mean, he's a fantastic actor. I mean, have you seen him in The Kids Are All Right and The Normal Heart? It's like, wow, man, this guy really does. This guy's great, and he's a wonderful humanitarian too. He's allied with he really endorses Food and Water Watch, which of
What is
course
that?
it's kind of like anti Monsanto organization, making sure everything stays clean, anti pollution. Very environmental.
Well, that's cool. All right, so we're going to take a brief commercial break. Not really, I'm just going to pause it for a second so we can set up Savage Dragon.
Chicago. Ordinary cops were losing the battle. The criminal mastermind called Overlord and his super freaks held our city in their terrifying grip. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. We have the dragon.
Alright, so that was the introduction to Savage Dragon. It's a lot less, I would say it's more moody than the Incredible Hulk, or your kind of standard opening for a cartoon. They're usually like in your face. And that one was kind of low key, moody, set the tone for kind of a more serious cartoon.
Oh yeah, but then you start to watch it. It does have its humor, mainly
Yeah.
coming from the main title character.
Okay, so the very first episode, this is not on DVD, so we feel no guilt in watching this on YouTube, that's for sure. So the first episode is called RSVP. It's up on YouTube, and we'll give you a couple seconds to find it. And press play.
All right.
All right, so you said you have seen this. You watched it when you were younger.
Yeah, I did. I watched a few episodes. Had no idea what it was about. I mean, it was kind of hard to go along with or follow a plot as a child because you're like, oh, cool, cartoon, action, fight.
Yeah, the cartoon's it's pretty dense. Especially the comic book's really dense with characters. There's so many going on. The first episode, it kind of jumps in, and you're like, there's 1,000 villains already. They do have the origin story halfway through the cartoon, a little bit of it, but it was very unusual for a cartoon just to jump right into the action immediately. I mean, there's no build-up whatsoever. It's just go.
I think this also looks like the same kind of animation that handled the Double Dragon cartoon.
I can look that up. It was the same company. It was USA, and they did have a few cartoons during their Saturday morning run, and this was one of them. I believe it was 1995 when this premiered with Wildcats and Double Dragon and stuff like that. They didn't last very long, though.
Yeah, Wildcats. I noticed like one of the main characters was Grifter, who's now a DC character.
Yeah, Jim Lee, when he started working for DC, he sold the rights to all the characters he created, including Grifter, over to DC Comics.
That guy's head reminds me of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what that monster was based off of. That is freaky.
So what did you see Grifter in? I didn't know that he was now in their universe.
Yeah, I saw Grifter in the Flashpoint Paradox.
So do they bring the universes together with that storyline? I've been behind on comics severely.
I think they just brought in Grifter for all I know.
Oh, yeah, he was the best character.
Right. And he also, I think he's now part of Red Hood and the Outlaws.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that. I guess the hood goes with it.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they're both wearing red. I mean, yeah, the eyes kind of make him look a little bit like Deadpool, but I just don't think he really is Deadpool. I mean, because he's not funny. And
no, he's pretty serious.
Yep.
He had a series for a while with Image Comics, like his own solo series, and it was pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it. It only lasted, I think, about 30 issues, but for independent comics back then, they're putting out their own money, so it's not a huge seller. There's really nobody backing it, so if they're not making a huge profit, they're gonna cut their losses.
Mm-hmm. But now DC's behind it, so I think it's still continuing.
Yeah.
At least with Outlaws.
All right, so
Okay.
Savage Dragon. was created by Eric Larson, who I first saw when he joined. Todd McFarlane had quit Amazing Spider-Man, and they had given him the opportunity to launch his own Spider-Man comic book. So they were looking for an artist to fill in for him. So they did a couple issues with Eric Larson, and he just nailed it. And he just ended up doing the series, I think, probably for about 2 years. And then he jumped ship and joined Image Comics. He's one of the founders of Image Comics. So there's like 5 or 6 guys that ditched Marvel all at once and went and started their own label. And Eric Larson's, I think, the only one still with the company. He still runs Savage Dragon. He just did his 200th episode. But he's the only artist, the only writer on the series for the entire run. Isn't that amazing?
Good to know.
22
I mean,
years.
yeah, this character does deserve that kind of credit. I mean, it's great.
The only part is that, now it's at its 200th issue, and people have very short attention span when it comes to independent comics. And I think it's like on its last legs. I think he only makes like maybe a couple thousand of each issue.
Yeah, here he is. Yeah, typical badass hero cop, kind of like John McClane and Dick Tracy, but mixed with Hulk.
You're right. And some people gave him grief because they were saying he was a ripoff of the Hulk, but it's just the color green. It's just the color green, and it's not like there aren't other green superheroes.
Most dragons are green. Jeez, let's not discriminate here.
Yeah, Eric Larson got into a war with Peter David over the fact that he said that he was derivative of the Hulk. And it's just like, dude, it's just the fact that he's green and muscly. But their characters couldn't be anywhere near each other. They're so different.
I know. It's not like everybody was saying Prime was like a juiced up version of Superman.
Right.
But bless, as far as Savage Dragon goes, and I think at first his fin, I thought he was more like of a creature from the Black Lagoon. I thought he was more aquatic.
Yeah.
But no, he's not. He's a dragon. And, I'm surprised he doesn't breathe fire.
Yeah, that might have been a little too obvious. I don't know. It's strange. He was born in fire. I mean, they find him. There was an origin story, but I can't remember it now. I read this comic up until about issue, I want to say 70, and I stopped buying comics for a while just because of budgetary reasons, and I never got back into it. I felt kind of bad because I was so loyal to it, and then I just dumped it. But apparently Savage Dragon is dead now, and his son has taken over.
Savage Dragon dead?
Yeah,
no.
I'm pretty sure he's dead, and now his son is the Savage Dragon.
Oh, wow, he has a son? With who? Not his partner.
I don't know. I'm so far behind in the comic, it's ridiculous. Nope, I couldn't even tell you. I'd have to read like a whole guide to what's going on in his world. But there was a point where Savage Dragon was huge. I mean, it was in the top 10. And, as the years went by, the problem with Image Comics is that it's completely owner-owned. Or that doesn't make any sense. Artist-owned instead of a corporation. And, guys like Will Portatio, he was not consistent whatsoever. He was really late. Jim Lee was pretty spot on. Rob Liefeld started getting a bunch of hate, and he started getting it really late. So basically, it was just Eric Larson being the most consistent, and his series never ended. I mean, it's continued nonstop for all these years. And it wasn't until The Walking Dead came out that Image Comics actually became a thing again, because it had died off almost into nothing.
Oh, yeah. You can thank Walking Dead for keeping it alive.
Yeah, and Eric Larson is the head of Image Comics now. He's their... not editor-in-chief, like publisher, I guess is what I want to say, like the way Stan Lee is. And he was really smart in holding on to the creator of Walking Dead. He said, you come over here, don't play around with Marvel, don't play around with DC. Come to our house, you get to do whatever you want. You get to create like this whole world of great comics.
Okay, real quick though. Why is there always a spider-based villain in stuff like this? This freaking terrifies me.
Actually, you know what? There's a spider villain. Like, it seems like every Hobbit, Harry Potter, in pretty much any comic book world. What's that?
I think it was mainly Hobbit that started that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Spiders are gross, man. I can't do it. Ugh.
They are. Okay, yeah, I want to say about the voice casting for Savage Dragon. Oh my god, I recognize that guy's voice in almost every single cartoon. He'd always play like a side villain or something like that, or a supporting character. but now
Yeah.
he's playing his own main character.
Jim Cummings, he did a bunch of voices. I think he did Animaniacs. He was a big voice on that. You know, you got Mark Hamill like usual, Michael Dorn, Renee Auberjonois, Rob Paulson, Peter Cullen. You know, a lot of these guys, they pretty much did every cartoon around that time.
Yeah,
Oh, Jim
no.
Cummings did Darkwing Duck. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, he was also. That's right. I knew his voice was familiar. I knew he did something else. And also, as far as Jim Cummings goes, yeah, I remember him being in Hercules. He played the oh god, the centaur, the river guardian.
That's weird. I'm looking at this here. Did you know that episode 21 of this series was a 4-part crossover with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Wing Commander? So, in a weird way, all 4 of those characters exist in the same world. That means Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat exist in the same world.
But why weren't the Street Fighters ever involved in the tournament?
I don't know. This is crazy, though.
Probably because were they not cool enough? I mean, they were pretty cool enough. They had some mystic shit. Okay, now I want to say that the concept for Overlord right here, it's like he definitely tells like a samurai, you know, robotic.
You know, as much as I love the comic book and I really loved what Eric Larson did with them, it's hard to ignore that a lot of his characters seem like other characters. Now, it's by the time the 90s rolled around, that is really, really hard to do, to make someone completely fresh looking and, you know, character. I mean, he basically is Doctor Doom meets Splinter.
You mean Shredder?
Shredder. I don't know why. Sorry, I did that. Sorry.
It's okay.
I mean,
You're not insulting anybody. Hey, you still at least you still at least remember the names. And you still hold true to the, you know.
Right. You know what's funny is the Savage Dragon thing. Eric Larson did one thing that no one else was doing in comics at that time. He refused to follow the rules of no one can really die, and if they die, they come back. And with the exception of Savage Dragon, I think Savage Dragon died once, and he came back after having an argument with God, and God said he basically kicked his ass out because he was annoying the crap out of him. No character was sacred in Savage Dragon. People died left and right. You never knew who was safe, which was groundbreaking at the time, because, and even today, that's really only done with Walking Dead. But I remember the Overlord was killed, like in issue 24. And you're like, hold on, the big bad is dead already? And later someone else would get the armor and they would go into it, but he would just do that. He would take characters out. No mercy. It was a very violent comic.
That's just like what they do with Game of Thrones series, the Song of Fire and Ice.
You want to know how Overlord was taken out?
What?
Bullet in the mouth.
Oh, dang, he used a gun.
Yep, Savage Dragon he was like, you're talking too much, and he just shot him right in the mouth and went through the back of his head. It's hilarious.
Cool.
I mean, that's twisted, but I mean, it's just the fact that he had the balls to just go, oh, you know what, right there, there's the opening. Boom.
Damn.
And,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I thought he would have crushed his head with his, bare hands.
No, you should.
Okay.
They put the comic book in a trade paperback form. You should get the initial run, the miniseries that they had, where it tells his whole origin and, you know, the first adventures he goes on. It's pretty cheap. You can find it on Amazon. Oh,
good to know.
Yeah,
I do want to say
go ahead
about this character that's big publisher, you know, whose building name is R. Richards. Like, is that a tribute to Reed Richards?
It may be.
Yeah, but no. Plus, this guy does look like J. Jonah Jameson. I mean, he's got the hair and all that, and he acts like J. Jonah Jameson, trying to discredit Savage Dragon, make him look like a bad guy just because he's a mutant.
Yeah.
Very discriminatory. Shows diversity.
There was talk of after the cartoon ended, there was talk for a while of a movie, and in fact, it was optioned for a few years. And they were talking about Bruce Willis being Savage Dragon. Now, these days, I would say Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, yeah, you had to say Dwayne Johnson now. Bruce Willis got too old.
Well, Bruce Willis was never the right size either.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Dwayne Johnson would be perfect. And I'm glad he's been cast as Black Adam. But you need to find someone equally physical as, you know, Black Adam to play Shazam.
By the way, did you see Hercules? I thought it was pretty good.
No, The Legend of Hercules? No. From what I heard, I think it's like one of the best renditions of Hercules. It's about, you know, the 12 labors and such, and fighting against the gods.
Well, there's two Hercules movies out in the same year. There's Legend of Hercules with Kellen Lutz, which is
That's
pretty
just a
crappy.
piece of shit.
Yeah, and then there's the Hercules here with The Rock, and I just watched it, and I don't really think it's about the 12 Labors. It's like post the 12 Labors after he's been announced as this huge hero, whatever, and a lot of what you think about the Legend of Hercules isn't exactly what it kind of plays with the reality of what we think of Hercules. It's really smart, and yes, people give Brett Ratner a huge load of crap for everything that he's ever done, but it's a pretty good movie. And the best part is the fact that Dwayne Johnson has a whole crew that he works with. He has like a team, and he's pretty giving. You know, a lot of stars are pretty selfish, and they won't share the screen with anybody else, and he does a great job with that.
Good. And plus, as far as Brett Ratner goes, I only give Brett Ratner crap for X-Men: The Last Stand.
I mean, it's good, but there are some things that are problematic with it. But what he did, I mean, he came in at the very last minute.
Yeah, because Bryan Singer was doing Superman Returns.
Well, he quit, and then they hired who directed Kick-Ass again? Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah.
Matthew Vaughn was actually hired, and they were just weeks away from production, like I think 2 weeks, and he quit and went and did that movie with Claire Danes. I can't remember, Stardust.
Yeah.
So he
that's
did
right.
that, and then Fox is like, "Oh crap, we have a go right now. We have to start filming. Who are we gonna get?" And so they got Brett Ratner. They got Brett Ratner, and he only could do what he could do in such a short period of time. I still regret the fact that he barely used Angel, but maybe he just didn't have the time to rewrite the script.
No, of course not. Angel, and plus, you got to blame the script writers. Like, come on, Zach Penn, you guys could have done better. And where was David Hayter? Come on.
I don't know what was going on. There's so many lines. Well, even Joss Whedon dropped the ball in the first X-Men. That line that he goes, Storm goes, "Oh, you know what happens to toads when they're hit by lightning? Same thing that happens to everything else." I'm like, that sucks. That was horrible.
That was stupid. You know, I'm pretty sure that wasn't David Hayter. David Hayter, I think he had more to do with he did do the screenplay for the first X-Men.
I know there's a lot of people who wrote on the first X-Men. I think there's like 8 or 9 writers, but only 1 or 2 people got credit for it.
Yeah, David Hayter, I think was the one that got credit for it.
I didn't think David Hayter was involved in the first one. I have to look that up. But back to the Savage Dragon. Do you think the Savage Dragon today would be done with makeup, or would they go CG?
I don't know. I mean, look what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. That was all makeup. They shouldn't go CG. They should just go with makeup. Give it real authenticity.
Actually,
so he seems real.
What about Dave Bautista? Do you think he has the chops to do Savage Dragon?
I think so, yeah. I mean, he was great as Drax, but then again, people are going to conflict. It's like, oh, he was already Drax.
Yeah, true. It's hard to find a guy big enough that can also act. And the fact that Savage Dragon, he needs to have a sharp wit.
Oh, yeah. You know, you see someone who has, like, that kind of witty voice. Yeah, I mean, Bruce Willis definitely had that. Of course,
you know, technically they could still do it with Bruce Willis if they did it all CGI. They just put the stuff on his face and then just transplant that imagery over. But at the same time, Bruce Willis is so lazy that I just think, you know, if you're going to be a lazy actor and you're not going to bother helping the studio promote and you're going to barely do your performance, and even when you do your performance, you're extremely difficult with every director you come in contact with, do you deserve a career? I mean, he should hang it up. Does he not have enough money? It's embarrassing.
I don't know.
I wish he cared again. And he keeps saying he doesn't want to do any more action movies, yet he keeps doing action movies. Why doesn't he just save his money and go do something else? Unless he lost his butt on something.
Red 2 and that terrible Live Free or Die Hard movie.
No, not Live Free or Die Hard. It's the one after that. A Good Day to Die Hard. Or did you not like Live Free? I was going to say, the one in Russia is the terrible one.
Yeah, it is. That's the one I didn't like.
Yeah, and Red 2, he's barely there, even though it's not that bad of a movie. And it's just everything afterwards is embarrassing. So if I were to hear that he was going to be Savage Dragon tomorrow, I would say the performance is going to be half done.
Yeah, it is. Okay, honestly, how did Overlord survive that? Like, was he like dropped into the water? What is it?
Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. I was staring off into the distance talking about Bruce Willis. What happened?
Oh, you know, so basically he knocks down Overlord. He saves his friends, and then he opens the RSVP letter from Overlord. And now, here's the news studio. Yep, there's J. Jonah Jameson. Why did they have to make him black? Oh, jeez. Oh no, now they're trying to make him look stupid.
Well, he'll grow skinny there. You know what's funny is I feel like I should go back and grab the series because I'm sure Eric Larson is still busting his butt putting out a great comic. It's just, fads die out. Image isn't that high level of a label anymore. And, like I said, short-sighted with independent comics. Like, it's funny that certain characters that aren't even that popular constantly pop up. I don't know anybody who ever read Moon Knight. Even though there's nothing really wrong with Moon Knight, it wasn't really like a big comic. Yet, it keeps coming back over and over and selling. And how it is that Savage Dragon, it's just no one reads it anymore. And it's just kind of disappointing.
I don't know. Like I said, everything's just either DC or Marvel now.
Yeah, eventually, almost every character has been either completely shut down or sold to another company. And, what's weird is I think Wildcats is the only thing that went to a major label because I don't recall whether Supreme ever went to someone. Well, God, I can't even remember the characters now. I can't even remember what Rob Liefeld created. Rob Liefeld is the co-creator of Deadpool and Cable. And he created another series that was a bunch of nonsense, and it was really hot at the time, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it was, but it was all part of this whole world. Let me look that up. We're kind of dragging butt here, so I guess we should probably wrap it up. We'll talk about this off the air, and I'm sure someone's losing their mind over the fact that, I know what he made!
Probably.
Oh, it was Youngblood.
Yeah,
Youngblood was it was basically X-Men or New Mutants, and it was really popular for a short period of time, and then it just stunk up the joint. All right, so I guess that's it here. Sorry, we were meandering. I think it's funny sometimes we get to the end of our episodes and we're just kind of petering out like, brrr. You're just getting up and I'm just getting ready to go to bed. Kind of weird.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, so I guess that's it for us here. I think I'm going to close it off with the theme from the 1996 Incredible Hulk series because I ignored it the first time around, and I'm pretty sure it's a good score. What do you think?
Oh, the 1996 series? Yeah, it was pretty dark. I will say that.
Yeah, it was more sophisticated than a lot of cartoons going on at that time, but I think Batman, like we mentioned this almost every cartoon, Batman kind of set the tone for maturity in comic books. And
of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys followed suit. I think it was probably the Hulk and Spider-Man that really started like going, hey, you know what? We should really dig into our catalog of characters and start giving them a rich history. A lot of them they just kind of ignored and just would bring in generic villains or the same villains over and over.
Right.
All right, so here we go with the final one, and I think next time we should do Spider-Man and maybe throw something else similar to Spider-Man in. What do you think is similar to Spider-Man?
What was similar to Spider-Man? There was X-Men.
We should do X-Men and Wildcats, and then maybe Spawn. Is Spawn even nah? Let's think about that.
Oh, Spawn to adult.
Yeah, it's to adult. Okay.
Oh, that I watched it when I was a kid. It was I thought it was freaking awesome.
All right.
So another thing about Fantastic Four. We should also do Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer, especially now that Fantastic Four is going to be coming out in August.
Right. Totally. Good idea.
Yeah. Have you? Let me know. Have you seen the trailer yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll discuss this after.
Okay, so I guess we're signing off here. I'm going to play out the last minute or so of the episode with the Incredible Hulk theme. So I guess this is Michael saying goodbye.
And this is Jacob saying, be sure to tip your waitress. Well, in the U.S. anyway. Any other country, I don't think it's necessary because you all have living wages. And we're jealous of that.
Yes, it's ironic. Terribly ironic.
Although most right-wingers won't agree with that.
Nope.
They're I'm sorry, they're just deluded. They're just dumb.
All right, let's not get too political. Let's do that for another show. All right, so here we go. Final theme.
Right. Ta-ta.